There should be nothing standing in your way. Now, it can't work if we smother the aspirations of people. And believe me, they're being smothered. Now, you remember the Kemp? Well, you probably don't remember because you weren't born. Some of you were born. Let's see now, would you? No, some of you would be. You. 1972, I was running for re-election for my first re-election in Buffalo, New York. In 1970, to run for Congress. Some people in Buffalo thought I quit playing in '65. Formally retired in 1970. Told them that they didn't elect me to Congress, I'd come back and play quarterback for the Bills, scared them to death. Now I'm getting into my, Pete, I want to tell you my favorite next congressman from the district. What's your district? 3? 3, 3rd Congressional District. The next congressman from the 3rd Congressional District. My wife was 8 months pregnant with our youngest son, Jimmy, who is now playing quarterback at Wake Forest. And we were at a diocesan dinner, and I wasn't feeling well, and I had to either leave or something happened. She had to fill in for me. And the MC was a closet Kemp supporter, and it was a bipartisan meeting of the Diocese of Buffalo. And so he wanted to say something that would get the crowd on Jack Kemp's side. So as my wife walked up to get introduced, 8 months pregnant, she was introduced by the MC as the next wife of the congressman from the 39th district. It almost cost me the election. 9 press releases later. But at the dinner at which we were speaking, you didn't think I'd get back to Jesse Jackson, did you? At the dinner, I was right after Jesse. And he got up and made a statement, something akin to this. Capitalism without capital is nothing but an ism. And everybody laughed. But you know, sounds like Yogi Berra. You can learn a lot by listening. And I rolled my eyes, and then I realized that he was right. You can't have a democratic, capitalistic economy without choice, i.e. democracy, and without capital. We're smothering the formation of capital. Pete understands, the president understands, that we should bring down the cost of capital. We should not only cut the capital gains rate and index it, but eliminate it in those areas. I'd like to do it at Cabrini Green. I don't know if you read USA Today last week. It told a story about mothers and fathers in Cabrini Green, Chicago, having to wear bulletproof vests to go to the store. A little 7-year-old boy was murdered or shot by a random bullet. And frankly, the unemployment rate in the Cabrini Green area of Chicago is close to 60 to 70%. Everybody lives in public housing. They live on the welfare plantation. If, in order to get your check, the welfare laws in America say that a woman with 1 or 2 children, in order to get a check, must not work. You must not work. You lose your check. Number 2, it says you must not save or own anything because you'll lose your check. Thirdly, it says don't marry a man who's working because his income will be taxed and you will lose your check. Ladies and gentlemen, let me make it very clear to you. It's not the values of the poor that should be questioned as much as it's the values of the welfare system that perpetuate poverty, keep people poor, punish them for crime, break up the family, destroy the very value that this country was based upon in its beginning. The idea of ownership, work, saving, family, and raising your children with dignity and justice and an opportunity to rise up the life. Has his way, and George Bush has another 4 years, there'll be an enterprise zone at Cabrini Green. There would be an enterprise zone in downtown Dayton. No capital gain tax on any man or any woman of any color and any background who puts his or her savings at risk and starts a business that hires 1 or 100 or 1,000 people. It would take public housing and give people a chance to get empowered with not only choice, but the opportunity to run and manage and control and ultimately own on the radical theory that where people own something, they do not trash it. Where people own something, they not only have where people own, no matter how humble, their own piece of the rock, they not only will defend their property, they'll stand next to you and help you defend yours. But where people own nothing but the shirt on their back, it is a recipe, not just for an LA riot, it's a recipe for the French Revolution or the Russian Revolution. Mr. Lincoln had it best. In 1862, he signed a bill called the Homesteading Act. He signed it in middle of May 1862. He said he wanted all poor people, particularly the black families of America, who came out of the Civil War without anything of ownership. No equity, no stock, no capital, no access to credit, nothing but the shirt on their back. He said, I'll give you 160 acres of land, free and clear, if you'll do two things. Occupy it, homestead it, and improve it. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't improve on Abe Lincoln. But I'll tell you what, I spent 4 years from Mr. Bush traveling in every urban ghetto and pocket of poverty throughout this country that I could possibly reach in 4 years. I can tell you, you don't need to tell people to improve that which they own. As soon as they own the property, it begins to improve. You can create a miracle out of sand. Now, frankly, socialism and communism were so at odds with human nature and our God-created nature. In fact, they could take a dream and a miracle and turn it into the Sahara Desert. You cannot give people wealth. They've got to create it themselves. You can't redistribute it. You've got to give people the opportunity to unleash that power of the free mind of a free man and a free woman in a free society, in a free enterprise economy. Pete understands it. The president has been begging the Congress for 4 years to pass enterprise zones, to privatize housing, to radically reform welfare, to index and lower the capital gains rate, to give first-time home buyers a tax credit, to liberalize the passive loss rules and provide some oxygen for real estate that had been taken out in the 1986 tax law that destroyed the value of residential and commercial real estate all over this country, that basically caused banks to fail, thrifts to fail. The answer is not to do more of the same. Bill Clinton wants to raise income tax rates, payroll tax rates, surtax rates, soak the rich, and ladies and gentlemen, no matter how young you are, just read history. Every time someone sets out to soak the rich, they end up soaking the poor who go without the jobs and soaking the middle class. That's what Bill Clinton has in store for the United States of America. I believe the re-election of George Bush and Dan Quayle and the election of Pete Davis are absolutely essential, not to the Republican Party, with all due respect. I care less about the party than I do my country, but my country and our country cannot survive, nor can the dream survive, unless we elect men and women with integrity, vision, honor, and an understanding of how democratic entrepreneurial capitalism would work. That means George Bush and Pete Davis in 1992. I'm the only HUD secretary in history with a foreign policy. And I had the mayor of Moscow over to HUD a number of months ago, and also met the mayor of Leningrad, Anatoly Suchek. These are wonderful, courageous, radical, left-wing Democrats. In Russia, you would be on the left, and on the right would be Ligachev, the military, the KGB, the Cheka, the nomenklatura, and the apparatchiks of the Communist Party. I don't know, they've got in Eastern Europe,